why if you like to eat pussy, therefore you should be entailed in pedophilia.
Right,
Once again,
so in other
failed
words,
argument.
the defense of her position was, it's just what I like. Great. They just like someone younger
This is
than
going down the dumpster. Come on, I want to talk to Danny. Jesus Christ.
All
Then
right,
go
I'll
in
let
another
Danny
room
have.
and talk to him.
Okay, you rather this, Tom.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Brojo, please continue.
Yeah, please continue.
I just brought up the issue. So how many times am I going to refute people on this? No one admits when they're wrong. You guys have to practice humility.
You're
The
just dodging the
argument-
question, right?
The
Like,
argument.
I asked. Oh yeah, go on.
Now I'm talking. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
When I said, "What's the defense of homosexuality?" The response was, "It's something that I like."
Now tell me, what's the problem with that?
If that's a defense of your position, i.e., just liking something, that is to say that if a pedophile just likes it, then it's perfectly fine. If that's the argument,
that's not how that works. That's a non sequitur.
Sure it is. If that's the defense.
So let me tell you why your refutation doesn't work. If you were to ask someone, why do you choose chocolate over vanilla, and they said, well, I prefer it, right? You are then going to say, well, if you're just appealing to your preferences to justify this choice, then you can go out and just commit pedophilia. That is the art of your response, Brojo. So you're going to have to find a different way.
What I'm saying is, if your preferences is enough to justify a position, then the pedophile gets the same thing. It says, well, that's just my preference.
See, that's the non sequitur part.
Wait,
hold on. That's the non sequitur part, right? Because you can't go from a preference. Well, excuse me, I'm in the middle of speaking. You can't go from, well, a preference justifies this position to a preference justifies all positions. That's what's known as a non sequitur, Brojo.
No, what's going on is not that there was a non sequitur, or I'm sorry. What's going on is that when Scott was asked what justifies it, it was just preferences. Just the sole preference alone is what justifies it.
Yeah, and I pointed out.
So my response to that is, why is it that one person's preference isn't esteemed as highly as your preferences?
So I pointed out, right, that in some cases a preference does justify it. Now you will have to show why a preference doesn't justify it in this case.
Oh, I don't believe that it does. That's never been my claim.
So then go for it. Show me how this works.
That's never been my claim. Okay.
So if you're saying that a preference can justify this action, you're still missing that gap between, well, if a preference can justify this action, and I want to say a preference can justify pedophilia,
I like that
where is the gap? I'm asking you again. I've characterized it accurately that you said if a preference can justify one position, it can justify all positions, Brojo.
How is it that that's possible to do that?
What do you mean?
I mean, this doesn't make any sense how you can continually misrepresent everything that I say.
So I feel like
preference is enough to justify a position and make it morally fine. If all you need is a preference, then a preference is all you need in justifying any moral thing that a person.
Oh, there's the non sequitur again. You just did it again.
That's the exact reasoning behind it.
That's not the case, Brojo. Let me explain why.
The reason is...
So, hold on. Excuse me. The case was, in this situation, a preference was used to justify a position. Then you said, well, in this case, if a preference is used to justify a position, then by the accusation, a preference can justify any position. But that inference seems unjustified to me, unless you want to say, well, it's my preference that this is logically true, in which case we're operating on two different rule sets here.
Yeah, I just wish I wasn't misrepresented every time I talk.
But I feel like I characterized it accurately, though.
This is maybe the third time that I've said to you, you misrepresented my position. No one's arguing that in this particular instance, a preference is what justifies it. I said the justifying factor for any moral predication would be your preference.
Where'd you get that from?
If that is the case, then a preference toward pedophilia is morally justified under that system.
So I understand that in a straw man.
Is that a non sequitur?
Yeah, of course it's a non sequitur, right?
How is it a non sequitur? Can you explain that to me? Can anyone with rational thinking skills?
I'll say it again, right? Here's the non sequitur. In a particular case, a preference is used to justify an action.
No, that's not a non sequitur. Not in what you're talking about.
Well, obviously it's not non sequitur because I only started half a sentence. If you wait for the rest of the sentence, you'll hear the rest of it.
You're talking about possibly.
Brojo, please don't overtalk me. I'm trying to tell you why you're wrong. Okay, so part one. In this particular situation, or a preference was used to justify a particular action. Now you want to say, well, if that's the case, then in any particular situation, a preference can justify that action. But that just doesn't follow. And there you go.
Lamb Chop, can I jump in a second?
You'll have to ask Brojo, because I think Brojo's like kind of recovering right now.
Brojo, okay, have you recovered yet?
So here's,
have you recovered yet?
I'm sorry?
Have you recovered yet?
Say it again.
Have you recovered yet?
Okay.
Anyway, I've got a question for you. I've got a question for you.
Well, I'd like to state what I just said before I get distracted. Thank you.
Go for it. Okay,
great. If the argument is all one needs in order to justify their morals is a preference. If that's what it takes to justify a position, meaning all someone has to do is prefer something and they're morally justified. If someone then prefers homosexuality, then they're morally justified under that system.
Well, now you've changed your position.
Can anyone tell me how that's a non sequitur?
Can I jump in?
I can't even find a non sequitur in this new.
Yeah, I'm great because that's what I've been saying the whole time.
Oh, that's a fault. You're lying, Brojo. You're a Christian. You're not supposed to lie.
Why would you lie? I'm glad that you recognize Christian commitment.
Why would you lie?
However,
why would you lie, Brojo?
However, I said several times, this is not what I'm saying. Let me explain it. And you didn't. So what's going on is that you didn't understand what I was talking about, and now you understand it now that I've reworded it, and so you're going to accuse me of lying, which is dishonest.
You admitted that you have reworded it.
Reworded the same
may or may not be
same content, different way of saying.
So when she said that, what justify? Hold on.
Did it logically follow?
Well, in the new case, in the reformulated case, no, but in the previous case, it was. So clearly, you must have changed something.
But this one does logically.
So let me explain why.
It does logically follow.
Well, we're gonna look at the previous case.
No, because that's not. I never brought up that. No, because you were misrepresenting me from the beginning.
So let me tell you why it wasn't a misrepresentation. The reason it wasn't a misrepresentation is you asked Scout what justifies that homosexual behavior. And what justified that homosexual behavior was a preference, right? And then you went on to say, well, since that preference justified that homosexual encounter, therefore, I can generalize to all cases. However, the part where you go to the generalization was the non sequitur. But in this case, when you restated it, what you've done is you've established this conditional. If you only need a preference to justify things, which is just, ridiculous. If you just need a preference, then of course you just need a preference, which is just a vacuous statement. There you go. Yeah, of course you can justify pedophilia in that because all you need is a preference, as stated in the. So there you go. I'm glad you agree that what you did was a non sequitur, and now you fixed it. I'm proud of you.
You have misrepresented me.
Stay on the floor, Brojo. Stay on the floor.
You have misrepresented me countless times.
You said that, but you can't prove it.
Unfathomable.
Prove that I misrepresented you, Brojo.
Okay, this is ridiculous to even see.
So you can't prove it. All right, so, I just want on the record that Brojo can't prove that I misrepresented him.
When I ask Scout what justifies pedophilia, she said, well, a preference
No, she didn't. She didn't say anything about justifying pedophilia.
I didn't say anything about justifying pedophilia, so don't put words in my mouth, you fucking little terp. Are you kidding me right now? I didn't say anything about pedophilia. What I said was I thought it was very interesting that Christians constantly bring up pedophilia when they're stuck behind a fucking rock in a hard place. It's almost like you want to sit here and have somebody validate your pedophilic tendencies.
Okay.
Right, Bro Joe, I've got a question for you, Bro Joe.
Now hold on, because
I've been hanging around for quite a
while.
I
understand.
I've got a question for you, and I'd like to bring you back. I'd like to bring you back to your actual position.
Okay. What I meant to say was, what justifies your lesbianism? And you said, well, it's just my preference. A preference is, well, I need to justify it. Okay. If that was the implication from what you were saying, pedophilia is fine under that particular view.
That's the non sequitur again.
I didn't say anything about pedophilia. You're the one who brought it up.
I understand that, but if you were saying that my preference or a preference is all that one needs to
and guess what? My other preference is that pedophiles get shot in the fucking head. How about that?
Not like this,
Brojo, do you equate homosexuality with pedophilia?
No, I want to...
Brojo, not like this.
Brojo, you said again, you've done the non sequitur yet again. Like, you failed to reason at this, like, again, right? You asked what justifies lesbianism. Well, she said what justifies lesbianism is a preference. Now you want to say, well, if you can justify lesbianism with a preference, then you can justify pedophilia with a preference. Therefore, pedophilia can be justified with a preference. However, right, there's no reason that we would go from, well, I can justify lesbianism with a preference, to, therefore, I can justify pedophilia with a preference. It's a non sequitur. You need to add more there.
Brojo.
Yeah. I'd like your evidence, Brojo.
Hold on.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I've been trying to get in for quite a while.
Alright, go ahead. Yeah, I'll go fuck myself.
Why is this guy wanting to butt in? Sit the fuck down and let other people talk, dude. Why do you get special preferences?
Yeah, sit the fuck down!
Yeah, go on, Pogan. I don't know who the fuck that guy is.
No, it's fine. I didn't have anything of substance. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he's interrupting everybody else. Holy shit.
Well, he's actually being really respectful in my IMO.
Yeah, of course he is, Danny. But
Brojo, I'd like to ask you why and what evidence you've got for equating homosexuality with pedophilia.
He's still recovering. I don't know if he's gonna be able to.
I think what he wants to say, it's like what the vegans say, when they say that if your justification for a moral proposition, your preference, then it's in some possible world it could justify all sorts of atrocities. That's what he's trying to say.
Just seems kind of silly.
I mean, why do we even need to justify homosexuality to this fucking idiot? Like, what? Like, why would we even think it's something to be justified?
I think there's a deeper issue than that. I think Squishy didn't actually make a claim, right? It seems Brojo is implicitly claiming that there is something morally objectionable about homosexuality, excuse me, and all he's appealed to so far is a Bible verse, right? Which, you know...
Well, hold on. I pointed out that it's in different situations we can have different criteria for justification.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, Squishy was simply responding to a question, right? So to insinuate that the burden of proof is somehow on her to justify her lesbian tendencies or whatever is just dishonest.
Right. But I wanted to point out that when I critiqued his reasoning, that was a valid critique. I want anyone to...
I completely agree. But what he should be saying is, can all morals be justified by preferences? That's where he wants to go.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to ask that question because then he say no.
He just wants to conflate the two because he's an idiot.
And he's conflating homosexuality with pedophilia completely wrong.
Did you hear that guy breathe before he spoke?
What do you mean by conflating?
Wait,
sorry, I was sucking on my vape, man.
Manny, were you here this entire time?
I thought you were going to end that sentence another way.
Don't bring Manny into this. Come on.
I was here when
too late. I did it.
Yeah, what a fucking great job you did.
So, were you here? Were you here to listen to the accusations of a non sequitur?
Yeah.
Do you think that was a warranted accusation?
Why are you appealing to Manny?
No, I just
let me appeal to whoever I want. It's a preference. Sorry, say it again.
I guess. I mean, I just think that
I guess
this
it makes
is
sense
like flawed in the first.
Oh my.
What?
Can y'all stop wrecking Brojo so hard that he leaves?